Me personally, I don't like to say that somebody isn't smart. I like to call them delayed. And the perfect definition of delayed, if you had to put a photo next to it, is Shannon Sharpe.
Welcome, cousins, and thank you so much for tuning in on today's episode. And if you are joining this channel for the very first time as well, please don't forget to smash the subscribe button and as well like this video. There is a lot of discussion going on about Amanda Seales' interview with Shannon Sharpe. There is a lot of parts that has been going viral. It is a 3-hour long interview, and people have been picking some parts and they are discussing about it on Twitter and as well on TikTok. In fact, I think it was trending so much on Twitter. One of the parts from that interview that has been going viral for the past 2 days now was the part where Shannon Sharpe was literally dismissing Amanda Seales' racist experience in the industry. And at the end of it all, he concluded that Amanda Seales' mother is a white woman, which she immediately shut down. A lot of people are saying that this whole interview is a shit show. Some are even saying it's not an interview, it's just a conversation, because Shannon Sharpe has refused to actually understand or even listen to what Amanda Seales was saying. And some are even saying he does not have the capacity to have a conversation with Amanda Seales. If you have seen that interview, what was the part that got you angry? I saw so many people talking about there are several parts on that interview literally getting them angry. Without wasting much time, let's get right into what the people are saying about how Shannon Sharpe was literally responding to Amanda Seales on their 3-hour interview.
Shannon Sharpe should really be ashamed of himself for trying to minimize and mansplain a black woman's lived experience.
In the situation at Disney, I was there as the only black girl, and there was a whole crew. It's like 12 of us. And so I was called an N-word right there while I was there. And I was also bullied while I was there because I was told that you're only here because you're black. You can't really dance. You're just here because you're black, so don't get any ideas. So that's what I'm being told by the other children. Does that suffice as racist to you, or would you want to call it something else? Is that just kids being mean?
Yeah, the kids. So let me ask you a question. As a child, you never said anything derogatory? You was just this model citizen as a child? I mean, children. And we're talking children, not functioning adults. Now, if you told me the adults, parents were telling you this, or the execs or people that are in charge of Disney are telling you this, I could agree with it. But at 89, you're probably 8, 9 years of age. Maybe younger.
So you have no problem with the children that were cursing out Ruby Bridges and the Little Rock Nine? Do you think that was just them being kids?
Two things can be true. Kids can be kids and not function as an adult, and things can be wrong. And sometimes when kids say things, they're repeating what they heard their parents say. They don't know it's wrong.
So what about the children who are receiving it that know it's wrong? Does that not matter?
Yes.
So if I'm 10 and I'm receiving that treatment and I know it's wrong, does it make my experience of it less?
It doesn't make it any less valid. No.
So that's what we're here to talk about. My experience.
Yes.
So my experience is that I experienced that, and it was difficult. So that's the valid part of this. I'm not here to protect those people. If I have an experience and you're telling me that my experience isn't what it is, you're telling me that my thinking somebody is racist who I was in a classroom with for a year that you have never met, you are emitting doubt upon that because of your own experiences.
No, I was talking about the teacher and you.
Right.
And I said I believe based on my
experience,
and a lot of people, is that kids correct an adult,
right,
no matter what society it is frowned upon. That's what I was saying. Okay. You took it as that I'm trying to minimize your experience and say, well, I'm defending her when I wasn't.
Okay. I think there's something worth saying that could come off that way, and it should be something to consider.
Well, see, again, you're going to consider it your way because you see things, like you said, you see things through your prism. Okay.
I think it's fascinating to watch you accuse me of doing the thing that you're doing.
No,
fascinating.
I think
it's fascinating.
This is your interview, so I won't interject but anyway, your mom is white.
Your mother is not white.
Me personally, I don't like to say that somebody isn't smart. I like to call them delayed. And the perfect definition of delayed, if you had to put a photo next to it, is Shannon Sharpe. I watched that interview with him and Amanda Seales, and I'm livid. When you are someone who is intellectually unprepared to receive the knowledge that you lack, this is how you behave. First of all, you lack journalism skills. You're not listening to anything that she's really saying. You're listening for key words that you can then recite to follow up to the next question. You're not actively listening. But then you sit around and you try to be combative with her story, her experience on Earth. How are you trying to play devil advocate when she's telling you her experiences with racism? As a black person, you playing devil's advocate, slightly defending racism. And you're doing it with someone who is a student to race relations within this country. Someone you could learn something from. But you are so intimidated by her wit that you try to find any single opportunity that you could to make her seem wrong so she could come down a few notches, but she was never wrong. And so then once again, you continue to look delayed while she continued to elevate further in the conversation. It made me so mad. I mean, it made me angry. I don't want her to sit with people like that anymore. I don't want her to sit with people like that anymore.
Shannon Sharpe listens to react instead of listening to hear or understand. For me, that was one of the biggest problems in regards to the Amanda Seales interview, because of the fact that he was very dismissive about her experience, and the multiple times she had to tell him that her mother is Blâck, as if that was just not penetrating to him at all. The way he was very dismissive of her experience in Florida and the racist things that she was being told by her own classmates. And as children, you're taught right from wrong. And the moment it clicked is when she brought up Ruby Bridges as the comparison. So how can you understand why those children and teenagers were racist to Ruby Bridges, but somehow you can't also comprehend in the same breath about my own experience because they were children? The interview was okay, and Amanda deserves her flowers for her patience and restraint. Shannon Sharpe needs to work on his interviewing skills as well as his ability to listen, to hear, and understand.
Is it just me, or was Shannon Sharpe given completely and utterly unprepared to interview Amanda Seales? And then, was there gaslighting happening? Like, I'm trying to just make sense of what I saw. Was he gaslighting her when she was talking about her experiences with racism, that with other children her age back when she was younger? And well, kids can't be racist. That's what they just repeating what they taught. What are you talking about? This is she's telling you her experience. You're interviewing her. Why are you even like attaching yourself in any way to this interview, as opposed to objectively interviewing her and letting her discuss her experience and her frame of reference? It was so difficult to watch.
It's so much discourse, and I knew it would be around this Amanda Seales, Shannon Sharpe interview. I knew it would be. But it's just one point that y'all are not making. The emotional intelligence that should have gone into this interview. The amount of self-awareness you have to have when talking to someone like Amanda Seales is far more important than the intellectual wherewithal. Far more important than the lack of journalism skills that we all know he has. Like, y'all saying all this stuff that don't even matter, baby. The truth of the matter is, he could not humanize her. He could not look at another human being, let them speak about their experience, and be like, okay, yes, I feel you, I hear you, I see you. Like, this interview was less about, like, teaching you what racism is, because we should recognize it when we see it, and more about her experiences with racism. Shannon Sharpe failed a lot during this interview, but most of all, he failed at protecting a black woman.
I think Shannon Sharpe is a really good sports analyst. I'm going to catch so much heat for this one, I know it. Sometimes I think that that's where we need to stop. And I think this also goes for Emmanuel Acho as well. Like, and it seems to always be about men. And this also goes for, like, Emmanuel Acho and my disdain for that man. Sometimes I really think sports analysts just need to talk about sports. I think that there are certain people that we don't really need to hear every single opinion about from, and those two men are definitely giving that. I'm not going to say that everything Shannon Sharpe says is wrong and incorrect or whatever, because it's not. Again, I think that he's an amazing analyst. I like when he talks about, like, finances and stuff, but the way that he talks about and to black women, about the things that they go through and the things that they're experiencing, and the way that he talks about women sometimes on not necessarily Club Shay Shay, but the one that he does with Chad Ochocinco. It just feels like a constant continuation of the toxic masculinity, like, conversations and behaviors that exist in the black community for men. Again, I'm not saying that man does everything wrong, because I don't think that he does. I think that he has strengths and weaknesses, like we all do. I just wish that he played way more into his strengths than he does his weaknesses. I just really don't think we need to keep hearing that same perspective of how some black men view black women, or how some black men view women in general. Like, I've heard him talk about the Birkin bags and stuff like that, and it's like, I want to support these black men in their endeavors, but at the same time, I'm not about to sit here and support that ideology. And I wish that other people who listen to them and support them didn't let them have a pass for the weird shit they say about women.
The stare does indeed say it all. And then she brought up how she was being treated with racism when she was booked on this Disney set within Orlando. I really want y'all to get into it, because then Shannon Sharpe continues to double down on his rhetoric from the previous conversation.
I was also bullied while I was there because I was told that you're only here because you're Black. You can't really dance. You're just here because you're Black, so don't get any ideas. So that's what I'm being told by the other children. Does that suffice as racist to you, or would you want to call it something else? Is that just kids being mean?
The kids. So let me ask you a question. As a child, you never said anything derogatory? You was just this model citizen as a child?
And here's where the biggest pause came for me when it comes to Club Shay Shay, because Shannon Sharpe, there is no way that this woman just explained to you how she endured a racial experience from her teacher, and then she goes on to tell you that these YT kids were being racist towards her, and you are still putting your stick out to defend them, saying, well, you know how kids are just like, what? Then Amanda even goes beyond that and gives him clear examples within Black history of non-Black children displaying racism. She gives him the Little Rock Nine, even down to Ruby Ridges, and he's still not willing to admit that what Amanda experienced from these children was racism. And he's like, oh, well, kids are kids learn from their parents, and it's not necessarily race. Listen, if your parents teach you racism and you exhibit that racism, it's still racism. Like, what?
So you have no problem with the children that were cursing out Ruby Bridges and the Little Rock Nine? You think do you think that was just them being kids?
Two things can be true. Kids can be kids and not function as an adult, and things can be wrong. And sometimes when kids say things, they're repeating what they heard their parents say. They don't know it's wrong.
So what about the children who are receiving it that know it's wrong? Does that not matter?
Yes.
So if I'm 10.
Amanda Seales ate when she said that being a Black woman is a performance in so many spaces and an exhausting one. And I want to talk about that as it relates to being a Black woman in a law firm. Hardest parts about navigating the law firm space in corporate America is that you just cannot show up as your full authentic self as a Black woman. Like, by design, the environment does not allow that or cater to that or even reward you for doing so. You may actually be penalized for showing up as your authentic self. And we see that all the time with like women feeling they have to change their hair, not wear braids, or their effort out to work, or like not use certain vernacular. Like, as a lawyer, that was hard for me because I came from Howard Law, a place that truly embraced and honestly celebrated you showing up as your full self, where you could discuss race relations, Real Housewives of Atlanta, and torts all within the same setting, and no one like batted an eye of you showing up as your complete self. When you go from a place that celebrates you to being thrown to the wolves in a white ass law firm that is working at such a level where not only do you have to be on with your academics and your work product and being a stellar associate, you now have to navigate the soft side, like the soft skills of being in a predominantly white corporate America. And it's hard as hell. We already know all the whole, you gotta be twice as good to be in these spaces. So obviously when we're showing up here, we already have the credentials and then some. And yet, you are told you're standoffish, you may not be a team player, your reviews come, you're not getting no work, but the work you do give is good, but you can't seem to move up in these law firms. It's just sick. I actually feel like a lot of us self-eliminate from wanting to be partners at these law firms, not because we don't have the capabilities to do so, or some people may even be interested in the work. It's really because of the soft skills part, the part where we have to network and be like the team player and well-liked amongst the firm. A lot of us feel like we don't even want to do the shook and jive dance that comes with that. Like, we don't even want to try and be the most likable chick in the room because we know the type of performance we have to do to be that. I honestly think that what may be more exhausting in the law firm than the work and the hours is truly the dance and song you have to do to like excel in these spaces. Like you have to be polite but not too polite. You have to be sociable and friendly but not too sociable where you're getting drunk at events. Like you have to be firm in your boundaries as a black woman, but you also don't want to come off as like this aggressive black woman trope. But when you're in these law firms and you have to constantly perform, you're always questioning your performance. Like, oh, am I not getting work because I'm coming off too aggressive? Like, am I not coming across as someone who's likable? Like, did I not talk about Taylor Swift enough? You never know. If you're seeing this and you're a black woman in a law firm, I just want to say I see you, I hear you. It's hard as fuck. We have hard jobs alone. We're using such mental brain power, and then to also have to navigate just the social aspect of it all. It's exhausting, and it's okay to say I'm fucking tired.
Ooh. Shannon, baby. This was not it. But I need y'all to listen.
And so I was called an N-word right there while I was there. And I was also bullied while I was there because I was told that you're only here because you're black. You can't really dance. You're just here because you're black. So don't get any ideas.
Now, in this clip, Amanda is explaining that she had tried out for something at Disney called Christmas Spectacular, and she, being the only black kid there, had received tons of racism from the other 11 children who were also taking part of that Christmas Spectacular.
That's what I'm being told by the other children. Does that suffice as racist to you, or would you want to call it something else? Is that just kids being mean?
The kids. So let me ask you a question. As a child, you never said anything derogatory? You was just this model citizen as a child? I mean, children. Now, we're talking children, not functioning adults. Now, if you told me the adults, parents were telling you this, or the execs or people that are in charge of Disney are telling you this, I could agree with it. But at 89, you're probably 8, 9 years of age. Maybe younger.
So you have no problem with the children that were cursing out Ruby Bridges and the Little Rock Nine? Do you think do you think that was just them being kids?
Two things can be true. Kids can be kids and not function as an adult, and things can be wrong. And sometimes when kids say things, they're repeating what they heard their parents say. They don't know it's wrong.
So what about the children who are receiving it that know it's wrong? Does that not matter?
Yes.
So if I'm 10 and I'm receiving that treatment and I know it's wrong, does it make my experience of it less?
It doesn't make it any less valid.
Now, in an earlier clip, Amanda Seales is explaining to Shannon Sharpe that one of her teachers, when she was in elementary school or middle school, had made some derogatory statements about Aboriginals. And Amanda stated when she had corrected her teacher on that misnomer, because our Aboriginals are still alive, she stated that her teacher had basically inflicted racist style of disciplinary action toward her. And that's when Shannon Sharpe was basically like, trying to whataboutism her experience. Because what? And shout out to Amanda Seales, because every instance she gets to correct that nonsense that was coming out of Shannon Sharpe's mouth, she did so, and she did so very eloquently. Now, later on in the interview, Shannon Sharpe asked Amanda, well, what led you to get your master's degree in African American Studies? Amanda explains, because instances like this, referring to the interview. And then she tells Shannon Sharpe, what I would like going further in this interview is for you to see me as an expert on African American experience, because she is an expert on African American experience. So when she's explaining to him different anecdotes of her life that she had received racism, it is not to be combative. And that's exactly what Shannon Sharpe was delivering almost this entire interview. Y'all,
have you guys seen that interview? What is your take? Like, what is your genuine take on the way that Shannon Sharpe was literally responding to Amanda Seales on that interview? Because it was giving, I know your story more than you. I know your experience more than you. This was someone literally narrating their experience and even giving examples. But it was hell-bent on actually defending the people that were wronging Amanda Seales. Like, it was so freaking crazy if you think about it. Like, this is my experience. Let me talk. Like, let me land. I need you to understand where I'm coming from. And then he said they were just being kids. I love how Amanda replied and asked if she was aware at that age that what they were doing to her was wrong. How come they were not aware? Or is it that experience is only attached to her? Because it's not making sense. The response, to be honest, is not giving what it's supposed to give. And I think this is why a lot of people are saying and roasting him. that is not capable of actually interviewing, especially someone like Amanda Seals. Let me know what you guys think about all of this interview in the comment section. Here are some of the comments that I was able to get. This person said he was gaslighting her, then got mad when she was telling him it was her experience. He does not have the reign to interview someone like Amanda. Bring back a real journalist. Another person said he was prepared with all the brain power he could muster up. He just switched to disrespect like they were in a relationship and were breaking up cause that is his intelligence level. Another person said, I felt like he did not expect her to go where she did, which makes me wonder who like prepared the interview because not him, apparently. And it kind of sounds like the truth because if you listen towards the end, after Amanda asked him question when he was just saying it's the hate, they are kids, and then he just went straight into your mother is white, right? Like he just literally concluded that her mother is white. So you can tell that he was not really prepared that interview, or maybe he used to just disrespect her like that. Another person said, it is the disrespect. He was ignoring a lot of what she was saying, like her experience was not valid. That was what that particular part of that interview was giving. It was like, your experience is not valid, you're just overthinking it. But if she could be aware that that was wrong, how come the other kids were not aware that that was wrong? Why are you making excuses for the people who did this lady wrong? Another person said, it reminded me of black men, especially of the older generation, who want to put black women in their place. He wanted to preach at her and have a come to Jesus moment, which is absolutely true. He really wanted to be right about someone else's experience so bad. Like, and it's not making sense. Like, how are you supposed to be right about someone else's experience? Even if they narrate their experience to you, you might still not be able to even say it or get everything right out that person would have. Another person said, Shannon is not a journalist. He does not do interviews. He has conversations with guests. He lets you hear them in their own words without leading them to responses. Another person said he called himself playing devil's advocate. It came off like he was questioning her behavior. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. That was good. Another person said he's always unprepared. He always plays devil's advocate. He always questions someone's experience. I think people are just noticing it because of who she is. Let me hear what you guys think about what these people are saying. A lot of people believe that it's a total disrespect, and literally, if you watch that interview, is a disrespect to literally dismissing her experience and trying to be right about her experience. Like, it's not giving, and it's difficult to watch, to be honest, because allow this woman talk and just understand and not just be coming up and just say things anyhow. Let me hear what you guys think. If you watched that interview, let's hear your thoughts in the comment section. And if you haven't, you can as well go check it or go check more people's review on Twitter and TikTok. And I will definitely see you guys in the next one.